What's going on, everybody? I'm Jason, this is Tennessee Mountain Homestead, and today we're going to be back doing some upgrades to my tractor. The first thing I'm doing, and the most exciting thing I'm doing, is adding windshield washer fluid and inner tubes to my front tires. The second thing I'm going to be doing is adding this ammeter into my system. So the first thing we're going to do is dismount the tires on the Harbor Freight tire changer right here. And we're going to get those things debeaded, and we're going to add inner tubes to them. Because we're going to have this done so we can start the fluid fill process, and then while that's happening, we're going to go ahead and work on the ammeter. The reason I'm fluid filling the front tires is because I have driven this thing on some somewhat steep inclines, and it feels just like the front end. I've seen the front wheel pull up a little bit going up out of the creek and stuff. And the other reason is all the big time professional mud mower guys, they do this. I didn't even know that they were doing this until recently. And I was advised in a couple of the comments on some videos that it would be a good idea for me to do it too. And I'm going to be pretty much copying Hot Lap Garage. And because he did a video on fluid filling his front tires, it was very intuitive. I'm going to go ahead and put a link to that video in my description below. And I'm just pretty much going to follow that same exact procedure doing this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull these tires off, and I want to say I've been really happy with when I changed out these spindles and to the upgraded version of these spindles where it just got a central bolt and a spring clip and a cap, and I can just literally unscrew that bolt, pop my wheels off. Now, in the future, I'm definitely going to be upgrading this axle. I'm on the fence between spinning this thing around, it's going to take some surgery, so where it's swept forward, or just doing a whole custom one-off axle, which is probably the way I'm going to go, with rectangular tubing and trailer spindles and hubs. Turn it. This Harbor Freight tire changer definitely isn't the highest quality piece of equipment, but it has come in super handy for small stuff like this. This is the third time this thing's been set and debeaded. And the last time we did, we're taking this thing all the way off this rim this time because last time we changed out the rim. Because if you guys recall, I bought a set of cheap rebuild kit from eBay for these things, and the bearings were oversized. I tried to force them in the other hub, and it just opened up the steel on the other rim. So I took this off another tractor and was able to put the old bearings back in this. But anyway, I had to use like half a can of bead sealer just because this rim was so rusted out. I also invested in a set of tire bars. I found these at, what was that place called? Rural King, yeah. And I don't know exactly what they're supposed to be for, but this one works good for debeading. All right, I've changed 1,000 bike tires and put inner tubes in them. This is my very first time putting an inner tube in a lawn tractor tire. So you guys can go ahead and comment down below about all the things I'm doing wrong. But it seems pretty straightforward. And at least we don't have to worry about sealing the bead at this point. This tire bead's about had it now, I think. All right, so the first mistake, well, almost mistake I made was I forgot to take these nuts off the valve stem. So I don't know. Common sense tells me that one does not go below the rim, that they both go on this side of the rim, on the exposed side, because there's this little washer that's kind of shaped like it's supposed to center the valve stem in the hole. So I'm going to go with that, because if there was a nut on the inside, I think it would put unnecessary pressure against the inner tube. I think both nuts go on the outside and one's used as a lock nut. So in the past couple months, as I've been setting tires on this thing, I've realized that clamping one side of the tire and pinching it almost flat really helps with getting the second bead around the rim. It's pretty tough because it keeps the tire in the center of the rim where you can get the most. You guys know what I'm talking about. There we go. So now what we're going to do is inflate the inner tube, and then we're gonna let it expand inside the tire, and then deflate it, and then maybe inflate it a little bit again, so there's no creases inside of there or anything like that. I used to do it with bike tires. I think it should work with this. We'll see. We're gonna do the other one, and then we'll get back to you when we start putting the fluid in them. All right, so we finally got this thing set back on the bead. It did take, I inflated it and deflated it several times, and I ended up using bead sealer again, just as a lubricant, because the tire didn't want to pop back on the bead. And also, so it seals once again, and like water and stuff won't be able to leak through there. You know, whatever, a little bit of preventative maintenance. But we're gonna go ahead and pull the Schrader valve out of this thing. We're gonna go ahead and put the inner tube back in the other one. We'll see you in a minute. All right, so we're in the middle of this. We got the windshield washer fluid up high. We got the siphon going. And we're already down about a little less than half a gallon. We got about maybe a third of a gallon left to go. And we've already bled the air out of this thing once. It did all it was gonna do at about the half-gallon mark. Let the air out, and now it's trying to work on siphoning the rest into there. Yeah, it's still going. One thing I had to do was I had to use a little hose clamp to go on the valve stem. If you could look right here. And it had to be pretty tight in order for this not to leak. All right, guys, we got the first tire done. It took almost 3 gallons. It took about I'd say almost 2 3/4 gallons, if not a touch more. And that tire right there weighs 45 pounds. And I did notice that it does speed process up if you squeeze the siphon and kind of force it in while it's doing its thing. I've already got 3/4 of a gallon in this one. It's only been a couple minutes. Check that out. Almost done with 1 gallon. This is it. Every last drop. All right, guys, that was a pretty interesting process. I did have to fight it a little bit here and there with the pump on that transfer hose, but ultimately I got about 2 3/4 gallons in each one, and I got the tires weighing identical. So they are 40 pounds each. So that one's 40. And this one is also 40. So we're going to go ahead and get the bearings back in these things, get them back on the tractor. We'll see you soon. All right, so we got the tires mounted back on the tractor. They've got 7 PSI in them. And I did notice that at first I thought that I had messed up maybe, and the inner tube got messed up during the installation, because when I pumped the air in them after the water was in there was a bunch of liquid spraying out from underneath the valve stem. But I know that was from the liquid getting into the rim, in between the inner tube and the rim, and it was just pushing out. Because that stopped and the tires are holding pressure. That's going to be a wrap for today's video. I'm going to do the ammeter installation in a separate video. It's getting late. I got to work tomorrow. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's content. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Comment down below. Once again, my name's Jason. This is Tennessee Mountain Homestead, and we'll see you on the next one.